Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Mount Deurklink. In the last few episodes I worked on these two dueling stand-up coasters here, and in this episode I want to go back to this area over here with the Candyland theme. So I already built a few rides here, including this helicopter ride, but I think this helicopter ride is a little bit too much for this area. To be honest, I don't really like the way it looks, so I'm just going to get rid of it. There we go. I think it looks a lot more open now, a little bit more, fresh. So, what do I want to build in this episode? Now, we have this area over here, and I think it will be really nice for the people here if they could go up sort of a hill here and just slide down from it. So basically what I want to do is just make an invisible dinghy slide here, so that it looks like the guests are just sliding off the mountain or off the hill that I'm making here. Now I will move the railway a little bit. I think I'm gonna let it go through a tunnel so the guests can start the dinghy slide on top of it, and then they will just gently slide down here. I'll probably make a few hills, and here at the end I'll make a bit of a break section. And then after that I'll let the dinghies go underground to return back to the top. And of course I'll also need to make sort of a path upwards for the guests so they can actually get to the top here. Now for this area I'll just add some buildings. Maybe another maybe another flat ride. Okay, I may have already focused a little bit too much on the landscaping, but yeah, I moved the train more to the outside area. I also changed its elevation a bit. I made a little valley here for the train to travel through and put lots of trees and some plants on top. Still got some landscaping to do here. What I also like to do is just replace some of the wall textures with rock instead of ice, just to make it look a little bit less all the same. I'm probably going to do that in more areas, or else everything will just look very bright. And yeah, having some different wall textures, I think it will help with making everything look a little bit nicer in the end. Alright, now I'm just going to start on the slides. I think I'll just make 2 slides here side by side, just so guests don't all go through the middle, and will help get some extra guests on here. So it will just be a simple dinghy slide. It will just travel down here. I will make it invisible, so that way it will look like the guests are actually just sliding on the snow. Alright, I've made the track for these rides now. Now the track will eventually be invisible, but this is what it looks like with the dinghy slide track. Now you cannot see the track pieces here because I made brake sections here, and those are elements the dinghy slide normally doesn't have. So that's why they become invisible. Now what I will do now is I will connect some paths to these entrances and exits after I rotate them. And here at the bottom I will make sort of a little building where the guests can get back to the path. And it's also to hide the fact that these boats will go underground here. And I'll probably do the same right here. And after that I'll also have to make a path so that the guests can actually reach these slides. Now, as you can see, these slides are not very exciting and they have abysmal stats. But yeah, I'm going to change them into elevators or lifts and to make the track invisible. And that way they also transport into they transform into a transport ride. So what that means is that guests will ride these slides regardless of their stats, as long as they're free. And since this is a scenario without money, that means that they're considered free and guests will always ride them. If they can find the rides, that is. Okay, the guests are not exactly lining up to go to these rides. It's probably because they have such low stats. Actually, the excitement rating has become a little bit higher since I changed it to a lift. But yeah, normally the guests will look for rides with high excitement when choosing a ride to ride. Now, these boats actually need at least 2 guests for them to actually start running. So that's why these guests sometimes will wait a very long time before they actually get to go on the boat. Yeah, sadly the handyman cannot join him in the boat. So yeah, this guy will just have to wait for another guest to come here. Yeah, so, personally I would like to see more guests ride it, but probably if I place some more rides here, it will probably get a little bit more crowded and then I'm expecting more guests to actually ride this. Now, one thing I will probably also do is just make an underground path from over here to somewhere over here, just to make it easier for guests to find their way around the park, just like the underground paths I made elsewhere, here for example, underground, just so guests don't get lost in the park. It can be quite difficult for the guests to find their way, especially because on these paths there's a lot of junctions. Okay, I will just continue decorating this area, and like I just said, I'll make an underground path from over here to over here, and since there's also a bit more guests here, well, also not too many actually, well, since there's a little bit more guests over here, then it should also become a little bit more crowded here. Now, I just realized I actually found some guests here in the corner a few minutes ago. I already almost forgot. So that's why I removed all guests from the park. And then I let some more guests enter the park using a cheat. But yeah, it looks like a lot of them have already left. So I'll just add some more guests to the park, just so we're back to the old numbers. Yeah, I just realized that's why it's not very crowded in the park anymore. Now, when guests arrive at the junction, they prefer to head straight ahead. And the way these paths are laid out, this actually leads to the guests being quite likely to walk around in circles here. So yeah, maybe that's not ideal, but eventually they'll find their way into the park. I don't think I'm going to change anything here. But yeah, this is indeed less than ideal. Okay, since I made a new area here, I think this will also be a nice spot to put a new patron. So let's just make a little invisible path here. And I think the entertainer we will put here. Let's do another snowman. So the entertainer we will put here, he will be named Comrade Chris. So yeah, he recently became a patron in the mechanic tier. Thanks a lot for that. And yeah, that means you're now in the park as an entertainer. I hope you like your spot, and yeah, more patrons will follow in the following episodes. Anyway, thanks a lot for supporting me. I really appreciate it. Alright, I'm just going to do a little bit more landscaping here, and then after that I will finish the episode. Okay, I think that's enough building for this episode. So just a little recap what we did here. So yeah, this little unused corner of the map, I made a little gentle slope here with these dinghy slides that go down here on an invisible track. Here I made a little building where the guests can leave their boats and exit the ride again. Here's another little building. This one simply has a toilet inside. Also put a little wall here with a snowman. And then here's the path upwards to the top of this slope. And here guests can ride one of these dinghies to travel downwards again. To the side of this slope, I just put a lot of trees and plants, and here I put one of my patrons, Comrade Chris. So yeah, I only covered a small area in this episode. I still need to do something with this area over here. I'll probably make something here in the middle, just like I did here. Not really sure what I'm going to make here, but probably it will be some sort of sculpture or statue or something like that. And probably I could add another flat ride here and maybe some extra shops. But yeah, this area is, I think this area is almost done. Probably also some extra candy, stuff like that. Okay, so that's probably what I'm going to work on next episode. Not really sure yet. I might also continue in this area over here, which has the station of the dueling stand-up coasters. I just love seeing these go around and duel throughout the track, especially these inversions. I think I timed them quite well in the end. Okay, that was it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed watching me build, and I'll see you again in the next video. See you later.